Welcome to Sleepless Stories, where dreams drift quietly into distant worlds, and every tale is a gentle step away from the noise of the day. Here, we tell stories designed not to excite, but to soothe, to guide your thoughts into calm waters. And tonight, we have a journey just for you. So, lay back, let your eyes grow heavy, and prepare to follow a quiet mind into the world of tomorrow. This is Ben's journey to 2050 in a quiet, almost invisible corner of the world. There lived a boy named Ben. He was 11 years old and a child, unlike most, calm, thoughtful, with eyes that often searched for things unseen. His imagination was boundless. Often, while sitting by the window, he would imagine worlds floating high above the clouds, cities made of light, or time flowing backward. Ben lived in a house that creaked and smelled of old books and childhood. In front of it was a small garden with lavender, rosemary, and snowdrops that would be the first to peek through in winter. Spring brought the scent of earth and the chirping of birds from the rooftop, while in summer the house smelled of dry wood and vanilla from the kitchen. In winter, the soft crunch of snow under the feet of passers-by could be heard through the windows, and autumn carried the smell of wet leaves and aged wood. The neighborhood was quiet. Sometimes the bark of a distant dog or the faint rumble of a train could be heard. But everything felt hushed and tucked in, as if the whole area drifted into sleep. Alongside Ben, his room was a true kingdom of silence. It had wooden walls covered in blue wallpaper with star patterns. On his desk were star maps, a miniature telescope, and notebooks filled with drawings of unknown planets he had imagined. But what truly made his room magical was the old, tall wardrobe in the corner. It was made of dark wood, its edges scratched with strange symbols carved into the doorframe. No one knew where the wardrobe came from. It had been there even before Ben's parents moved into the house. They said it was just old, but Ben knew it wasn't ordinary. Sometimes, when the night was especially quiet, he could hear a whisper from the wardrobe. Not words, more like it was breathing, like it was calling to him. One evening, as raindrops slid down the window, Ben lay in bed, watching the wardrobe. The light from the night lamp danced on its doors. That's when he noticed something strange. The crack between the doors shimmered bluish, as if an unknown source of light glowed behind them. His heart beat faster, but he didn't feel fear, only curiosity. Deep, warm curiosity. The next day, as soon as his parents left the house, Ben sneaked to the wardrobe. Slowly, he opened the doors and pushed the coats aside. Behind them, in the wall, appeared a crack, big enough for him to slide his hand through. A soft light glowed from it, and when he pressed his ear close, he heard a faint humming like a song carried by the wind. There was no logic, no explanation, but everything inside him told him he had to go in. He didn't hesitate. He took one step, then another. The crack gently pulled him in. The space around him became undefined. There was neither light nor darkness. He didn't know if he was standing or floating. He felt warmth, safety, and a gentle pulsing, as if he was passing through an invisible gate that recognized him. He closed his eyes and let go. The passage didn't last long, nor was it short. Time lost meaning. There was only silence and the feeling that something was guiding him forward. And then a step, soft as if he had stepped onto grass. He opened his eyes. He was there. The year was 2050. Although he couldn't be certain, everything in this world spoke of a time that had come from dreams of the future. The sky was brighter, yet gentle. Flying cars made no noise. They glided across the sky as if carried by the wind. The air smelled of plants and electric peas, clean, new, gentle. The city he had arrived in had no sharp edges. Everything was rounded, soft, almost organic. The buildings were tall, but never intimidating. Their surfaces were like water, changing color with the light of day. People walked the streets in light clothing, and beside them, robots. Some resembled plants, others animals, but all moved silently, gently. One robot approached him. It was tall and slender, with a glowing face that had no mouth, yet somehow seemed to smile. Through gestures, without words, it invited Ben to follow. And Ben did, without question, because at that moment he knew he belonged here. Days, if they were still called days, passed slowly in the rhythm of breathing. Ben wandered through the city, observing and absorbing. He saw houses that grew, adapting to the emotions of their inhabitants. He saw children learning not from books, but through dreams shared by the whole class. There were flying libraries, sky gardens, places for quiet reflection, floating platforms above lakes where the light changed color according to one's feelings. People were calmer. No one rushed. In this world, time was a friend. Ben went every evening to a special place, a park where the grass glowed and sounds rose from the ground like a song, calming the mind. But that wasn't the only corner of peace. Nearby was a garden with hanging walkways winding between trees, whose branches glowed with soft, golden hues. In that garden, visitors could sit in floating swings that gently rocked on their own, following the rhythm of breath. Not far from there was a quiet room, a crystal dome one entered in silence, where every sound from the world disappeared, leaving only peace. Ben loved to wander between these places, soaking in the quiet and the light, as if they were parts of a dream he never wanted to end. He would lie on the grass and gaze at the sky, which was no longer just blue. Sometimes he would fall asleep there, and when he woke, the robot was beside him, always silent, always gentle, like a guardian of dreams. One evening, as he sat on a bench that smelled of lavender, Ben closed his eyes and felt something familiar. A pulse. The same pulse he had felt in the wardrobe. The portal was still there. It hadn't vanished. He realized then he didn't have to choose. This place, the year 2050, wasn't a replacement for his life. It was a refuge, a place of peace, a space he could always return to when he needed calm. Maybe he would go home tonight. Maybe not. In this world, there was no pressure or haste. No one demanded answers right away. Everything was quiet, like eternity between two blinks. Ben knew that wherever he was, he carried this world with him, in his thoughts, in his heart. And as he sat in that moment, wrapped in silence, he thought of his room back home, the blue star-patterned wallpaper, the old telescope, and the star maps he had drawn. He remembered the scent of lavender from the garden, the creaking wooden floors, the winter evenings where snow fell gently outside. But now, after everything he had experienced, that room wasn't just where he lived. It was the starting point of a journey, a place that reminded him that even the most ordinary things can hide entire worlds. Deep inside, he knew his home was there, but his peace was here. And one did not exclude the other. The light slowly dimmed. The city of 2050 faded into a night that wasn't dark, but velvety blue. Robots retreated, building lights softened, and the sounds grew quieter. Ben lay on the grass and breathed slowly. If you close your eyes now, maybe you, too, can find that portal. Maybe behind your wardrobe. A world waits that knows your thoughts, that gently whispers, just rest. A world with no noise, no chaos, only silence, and a future full of light. Sleep now. Ben is there, waiting for you to join him. In 2050,